Hello there, this is Nick Roach. I've been asked a number of times whether what I teach is the same as mindfulness. Now, mindfulness is a term used quite a lot these days to teach people to reconnect with the sensory world and what's going on. And so in some ways, yes, what I teach is mindfulness. But it goes deeper than that. Now, someone could be doing exactly what I'm saying and refer to it as mindfulness, and they'd be absolutely correct. In fact, I would say this is what mindfulness is really about. However, if someone is practicing mindfulness a couple of times a day for an hour, then no, this is not that. So, this is about being mindful as being fully conscious, the mind as in the conscious mind, the attention, be conscious of your physical body, breathing and the surroundings, and of what you're feeling inside, any disturbance, and whatever thoughts come through. That is what this is, and it's about doing it all the time as much as possible. So it's all day mindfulness, and especially when faced with emotionally difficult situations. As I've explained all the way through, the emotion is unconscious energy that must be experienced consciously, mindfully. If you're mindful all day except when there's an emotional disturbance in you, and then you go into the imagination, then you're doing the opposite of what I'm saying. But if you're particularly mindful when an emotional disturbance is there, and when there's a physical situation that needs to be addressed, so you're mindful, conscious of disturbance, and you're looking, what can and should I do about the situation, and it occurs to you, I should do this or that, and you do one of them. You do it mindfully because consciously you know intuitively that's what's required, then that's what I'm talking about. But if someone else sits and tries to dissolve the emotion, tries to be mindful, and they've got to take action but they're refusing to take it, that again is not what I'm talking about. That's not being responsible and taking action when required. That's avoiding taking action, avoiding life and living. Because sometimes to deal with the emotion, the disturbance is because there's an action that needs to be taken and one is too scared to take it, and that's the disturbance telling you you've got to do something, and you're going, no, I don't want to do it. And that's not being responsible. And that would mean that energy, the emotion, will always stay down there. It's been unaddressed. Eventually, after a while, the situation might resolve itself some other way, but that emotion that made you afraid and not want to take the action, that's gone back down into the psyche, into the unconscious. And as with any karmic energy, because that is karma, it will come up again later on, and one day you'll have to deal with it. So is this mindfulness? In a way. And to me it is the ultimate in mindfulness. Because being mindful all day, every day, particularly in emotionally difficult situations, and it's being mindful of what's required to be done in that situation, and being prepared to take the action in order to remain mindful, and to take the action so the emotion does not go back down in unconscious, which will take me away from the moment another time. Because all the time when people are trying to be mindful and they can't, they keep drifting off in their imagination, thinking of this and thinking of that, what is it that's making them think of all this stuff? It's all this unresolved, all this unconscious energy or the emotion in the unconscious. That's what stops the people from being mindful all the time. So if you don't experience emotion consciously, mindfully, or don't take the action required to address it consciously, it will go back down again, and you'll never be as mindful as you'd be able to be had you dealt with that emotion, because that will be responsible for keep dragging you off, taking you away in the imagination, think about other stuff. When everything's fine and you can't stop thinking about random stuff, that is the energy you haven't dealt with yet. So is this mindfulness? I don't mind saying yes, but I'd be concerned someone will say, oh, in that case we know what you do. You're in this little box, we know, that's mindfulness, put that over there. And that's not doing this justice. That's like saying to someone, they do yoga because once a month they do a couple exercises. And they say to someone who's been doing it for 20 years, a few hours a day, oh, I do yoga as well. It's not the same thing. Not unless you put everything into it. And that would be my concern, that someone would dismiss this by calling it mindfulness and then think they know what it's all about. Because they can learn mindfulness from any book, from any teachers at school sometimes teach mindfulness these days, and which is very useful, it's wonderful. But if done as a lifestyle, it goes very, very deep into the entire being, the one being that one is, and one becomes self-realized and God-realized and realizes everything is the one being and they are that one being. That's where mindfulness leads, and that's what mindfulness is ultimately. So in that sense, yes, this is mindfulness. But it's not the mindfulness people think it is. It's being totally conscious of oneself, the only self. Thank you.